Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Old West Fishing, and today is the big day. We are shipping off to Chamberlain, South Dakota to go fish in the Missouri. Me and Jason are heading out, and we'll be giving you periodical updates. Today's just a travel day. We'll try not to strangle each other, and I will see you guys in a minute. Alright guys, so we're here in Mitchell. We're about an hour away.
Fueling up the car,
getting some goods eaten, and we're about an hour away from the campsite. We're in Mitchell, South Dakota. We'll be there in just a blink of the eye, and it's a long haul. Since October I forgot how long this drag is. So we'll
terrible.
All right, we'll see you guys at the cabin. Alright, guys, we are rolling up to the cabin. We are finally here after a ridiculous amount of time. Let's see, we got here at 3:20. We left the house at, we're cabin 3. We left the house at 8:30, and we are tired, but we have arrived. Alright, guys, so we are in the cabin finally. And Jason's gonna screw on his phone while we so we're back on the cabin. So this is the beautiful cabin that we're gonna be staying in for the next couple of days, and in the morning we're gonna be heading out into the great beyond and fishing the
long drive.
Yeah, that was a long drive. We started out at 8:30, got here by 9:20 or
3:30.
3:30, yeah.
That's at 8:30.
Yeah, so it was kind of a pain in the butt. It was a long drag. But yeah, and so we're gonna kind of take this moment to kind of just talk and hang out, you know, see where the conversation takes us. So kind of like my question that I get a lot: what made me and us start a video or a YouTube channel? And a lot of people on this channel don't realize, but we originally had an old YouTube channel on this guy's channel, and it was called C&J Fishing. And we made videos, and we got a quasi-decent following on that. And then eventually, he's going to be shipping off to the Air Force, what date?
The 29th.
29th. So he's going to be shipping off, and so we kind of just decided that if I want to carry on the whole YouTube deal, he's going to have to kind of switch off. And because for the longest time, he was kind of like more running the channel than I was. I was still in the videos, but it became more more his situation than my situation, and so now we're just kind of moving over here. And you guys have seen my other videos. Link in the comments link in the description down below with all my videos on there. But so I get asked what made me want to start a YouTube channel, and so you have the list up, nice, so we don't forget. But my biggest thing is I wanted to be able to document my travels, my future, whatever I wanted to do with my life, and just fishing, hunting, and sports in general. I've always been a huge passion of mine. What about you, bro?
For the channel?
Yeah, like what made you because it kind of because we had some. It kind of just happened. We had some really dumb names for it. Remember?
We had 5 or so names.
Because we had C&J Fishing, and it's still Jason S. You're ripping off John B.
Yeah.
Let's
see.
see.
Just because it's my email at that point.
Yeah, we did Jason S for a while, and then we did. It was C&J Fishing, and then.
Where did you come up with Old West? I never knew that.
I like
your channel just came out as Old West one day.
See, I like Old West Fishing because I'm from Wyoming, the Old West. And I just think, first off, it's just kind of a badass name if you ask me. But I don't know, it's always something. Because that was one of my first ideas, and you shot that down for the video. You did. I wanted to be, Fishing Nebraska was the original. And then I wanted to do,
my channel's still up. It's got
it's still there. You can go, I'll link him in the description. But,
good views.
Yeah, the videos are still good, but he's not going to be posting anymore. I mean, I don't know. But, I'll link him in the description, but Because I've always wanted a YouTube channel because I love fishing and I eventually want to get, fishing tournaments and whatnot. But, because I wanted to call it Fishing in Nebraska, and I wanted to, I was thinking of a whole bunch of stupid names and he was not going with it. We finally decided on C&J Fishing, and then that pretty much created that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
Now we're here on Old West Fishing. But I guess kind of like.
Are you moving to the next question, or you keep going?
I don't know. Let's kind of mute. This guy can't ever just talk. Gosh,
Has to be structured.
He has to be structured. That's why he's going into the Air Force. What made you want to ship off to the Air Force, anyways?
It's kind of just family, really.
Yeah.
There's just nothing really else to do, and just decided to go.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Because
need something to do, so I decided why not.
Yeah, because you grew up in an Air Force family. I grew up in a Marine family.
Yeah.
And so we met. Oh, we should tell the story of our first fishing trip ever. That's funny.
Our trip or
no,
like
our first time
fishing.
First time ever going fishing. It was 2016, right?
That was a wreck. Most of ours were wrecks.
Yeah, we have some. Because there's the one out in Fremont. That was a mess. We didn't even go fishing.
Mess.
We only fished for like 30 minutes that entire trip.
We basically got hit by a hurricane in the middle of Nebraska.
And the tent collapsed, and I was screaming.
Terrible.
It was so hot. It was like still 85, 90 degrees at night.
It was at least 100.
Yeah, and so I'm in just no shirt, in my boxers. Jason's no shirt and in his boxers. The tent collapses, fire's going everywhere because we left the fire unattended in our sleep. And so I book it to the car, jump into the car, nearly buck naked, sleeping in the car, and we slept there until we woke up.
Oh, it was terrible.
That was a nightmare.
It was terrible.
But, and then Jason has been, witness to many of my freakouts and meltdowns of fishing. Which is almost every time we go fishing.
We should try to get most of those on film from now on.
Yeah.
They are beautiful.
They are beautiful, and except I would have to censor It would just be a long streak of just
tones.
Beep, just like tones, and it would be ridiculous. But
it's funny. But
yeah. Let's see. What was the other
next question?
Let's move on to the next question. And if you guys like this format or anything,
what was your number one lure?
Huh?
Oh yeah, your number one lure.
Oh, I was speaking. Let me speak. Jeez.
Fine.
If you guys like this little format that we're doing, talking a little bit,
lighting is terrible. Right?
Yeah, it is terrible, but I mean, it's an old cabin. I mean, it's a great cabin though. It's tiny though. But drop some comments down in the comments and questions down in the comments, and let us know if you have any questions for us. But so for you can only throw one lure. You haven't pervaded the area. You haven't checked out the area, you don't know, you can only throw one lure. What is it?
Where are we fishing?
A lake.
Like, where's the lake? In Florida or in Nebraska?
That's a good point. Okay. Nebraska, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Since we're from Nebraska.
So I'll probably throw a Ned rig.
Ned rig?
You can catch anything on a Ned rig.
Yeah. Because mine's a weightless wacky Senko.
Ned rig tied up over there, actually.
Yeah. Mine's a weightless Senko because...
I'd catch you.
Yeah.
What's the funniest lure you ever bought? Because I have mine.
Oh, it would have to be the 3D Savage lure, right?
Yeah.
The duck. This is the suicide duck.
Oh
That
okay.
I'll put a picture of it right there if you haven't seen it. But
Canada story time.
Oh, Canada story. Like this Gigan took a trip up to Canada without me.
I took a trip up to Canada. I threw this lure all day long. So I brought it to Canada. No, everyone thought I was ridiculous, and I was. This $20 suicide duck I threw up in Canada for an entire 8-hour day. I got 2 blow-ups. No one else was catching fish, but it was terrible. I threw that lure way more than I should have, and it's still sitting in a box right now. I refuse to fish with it.
Yeah, I have, like, y'all have seen it, like, hung up on my map, like, where I have all those dumb lures that I never fish. It was such an impulse. It was on sale at Dick's Sporting Goods for like $8.
That was when we first started fishing. We wanted to buy as much tackle as possible.
Right, and now I have too many tackles. Yes. I have too much tackle.
Bins at this point.
I just bins. I have freaking mystery tackle boxes full of lures like up along my wall.
That's insane.
Yeah, for some reason everybody thinks I'm sponsored by Mr. Tacklebox because I'm like, no, I'm just a hoarder.
You just buy all of them.
I just buy everything. No, because I have no self-control.
Oh, man.
But yeah, for only one hard bait you can throw. What hard bait?
It'd probably be like either a whopper plopper or frog. Frogs work really well for me.
Frogs are good, but I'm gonna go either a lipless or a square bill. Because you can
square bills I've only caught a couple fish on, but
see, but the only problem is there's not enough rocky places on the banks anyways for us to fish in Nebraska. It's all weeds and stuff, so I like to toss that lipless and just rip it through the weeds. Those reaction strikes, man. Oh, jeez, almost completely forgot. A chatterbait, obviously.
Oh, would you consider that a hard bait or a spinning bait? I think I would consider that in the spinnerbait family.
Or a jig. It's a bladed jig, technically.
Technically, but it's a reinvention.
Comment down in the comments of what you think. But
obviously, I'm gonna be right. But
no, I'm right because no one loves you.
That's okay.
But I think either that or like a small chartreuse spinnerbait, if not the chatterbait. Yeah,
I've heard purple works really good around here too.
Yeah. Top 5 favorite lures for you?
What are my top 5? That's a hard
name
one.
brands. You gotta give name brands.
Favorite that work or favorite that I think are awesome?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Because I think they all kind of like coexist in the same, right?
Kind of. So like my number one thing that I love to throw is like a chatterbait or a spinnerbait. I think of them as the same family. They're just
they're quasi in the same family,
it's just
but
like
they
chuck and wind bait. You can just get out there
and then you just
retreat.
pop it. Oh man.
Number 2 probably have to be like a Senko or some type of worm, weightless or weighted. Doesn't matter. Number 3 probably has to be punching, like you're having a big weight with a huge hook on it and just putting it in reeds. That's
what do you throw? Are you throwing like a ribbon tail on the back or
like a beaver bait, something like that?
Okay.
Yeah. Number 4 is probably a frog. I like frog. It's always tied on. I usually get some of my biggest fish with frogs. It's my last one. Probably number 5 is probably the Ned rig. Just because it works all the time. I mean, it's not too fancy, but it works all the time.
Right. It's not stupid if it works kind of situation. For me, first would probably be a Senko. I won't throw a dinger. Like, no offense to Yum, but like you can't beat the king. There's a reason why.
Nah.
Like
Yamamoto Senkos work for a reason.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason why everybody they don't call them worms. They're called Senkos, even if they're not Senkos.
Yeah.
Everybody calls a plastic fishing worm a Senko because it's become the king of plastic worms.
Of that
caliber.
I mean, you still have 10-inch ribbon tails.
Right.
But of that caliber, yeah.
Right. But of that quality and caliber, and not to mention that they're taking over the game with their awesome hard baits. Their
swim baits are now becoming popular too.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of. I did a video of unboxing a bunch of Yamamoto hardtails. Did you ever see that? Of course not, because you don't watch my videos.
I probably saw some.
but like they're slowly taking over the game, and for good reason, because they're coming out with constant quality of product.
Yeah.
But off of that little tangent, so it'd probably be a Senko, then a chatterbait, a lipless crank, a frog, and then
you like your lipless, don't you?
lipless. I get some because I don't think you fish them enough.
No, I think I own 2 maybe.
Yeah,
and one of them looks like a shad. Shad doesn't work around here.
And I have at least a dozen, at least. Yeah, and then probably I said a frog, right? And then so probably a spook or like a popper.
You think spooks and poppers are the same thing?
Shut up. Correction, a topwater. An open water topwater. Like, because like, there's like frogs, and then there's like spooks, poppers, wake bait, stuff like that.
That's true.
Like in
Poppers
open water.
work pretty well.
Like, I like poppers early along the morning, like right along the grass line.
Yeah.
Ripping that. That's key right there.
What's this? Ripping that?
Ripping it, hit him with a squat. But, yeah, let's see.
What was our last thing?
We had another one that I liked.
Hold on, where's my list? Favorite fishing memory.
Oh boy.
Let's close it out with our favorite.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll have to think on that one. Do you got one?
I probably do. It wasn't with you.
Of course.
You can't beat this. Honestly, you can't. So it was the first day in Canada. We were up there for like 8 days, but it took us 2 days to get up into Canada to fish. So it was our first day fishing, and it was 9:30. We had been on the water for like an hour and a half at this point. And I had my Quantum 7'1" rod, which is not my favorite rod at all, but it was one I took up there. And I had my spoon that I was just chucking and winding all day. This was before I brought out my suicide duck. And it was like my 5th cast in this one reed spot, and the reeds were submerged. And I would bring it back, and it felt like I just got tugged by a brick. And I thought it was a fish, and so I set the hook, and my 7'1", medium, heavy, extra fast, bent in half. It literally looked like an ultralight rod. It just bent that rod in half. And I just started reeling. I didn't care if I broke my reel. I just started going. I wasn't going to lose this fish. And I bring it all the way up to the boat, and I'm like, okay, good, it's a pike. And he nets it, and I'm just looking at the back part of it that's out of the water, and I'm like, oh, it's a decent fish. And he pulls it out of the water, and it's the biggest pike I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'll put that picture right there.
I think I still have it somewhere. I'll send it to you. It's the biggest pike I've ever had in my entire life. It was 35 inches, but the girth on it is just insane.
Pretty girthy?
Oh, it was insane. It probably weighed at least 20 pounds, it felt like.
Thick with 2 C's?
Oh, yeah.
Thick with 2 C's?
It was insane. So it was the only big fish I caught up there. I caught a ton of numbers, and I hooked a 40 because I saw it, and I knew, I was like, in my heart, that was a 40-pounder, or a 40-incher. But we had to fish with barbless, and it came off, and that was a whole nother fit that I threw.
Right. Because my goal tomorrow is to break my walleye record.
Yeah.
Like
I don't even know what mine is. We were catching walleye up in Canada for so long.
Right. And we caught some pretty good-sized walleye last year, too, so... probably my favorite. I have 2.
I might have to make tomorrow's video into 2 videos. It might be that much content.
Tomorrow will be a long day for us and a busy day as well. But I have 2 favorite memories, and one just because for the actual fishing, and 2 just because of the memory and the friendship I got out of it. The first one has to be catching that pike. That huge gator.
Was insane, yeah.
And that picture right there. That was incredible. I just remember catching that fish, and my first pike ever. Never even.
That was pretty big. That was like Canada size, and I wasn't expecting that when we came out there last year.
That was an incredible quality fish. Jared, our guide, really put us on the spots, even though the weather was kind of crappy out there.
Yeah, it was like 40-mile-an-hour winds all day.
Yeah, we were knocking back and forth. It was rough.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the highlights of my fishing career so far. And then my second one definitely has to be our first fishing time going fishing together.
That's true.
Yeah, because this our friendship has taken on a life of its own. We've created there's so many jokes that we can just say a word to each other, and we instantly know the story behind it. And we've created
too many at this point. I forget them.
And we've created channels, and we've created Instagrams. We've created so many memories and so many stories behind just that one day where this Guggen called me and asked me if I wanted to go fishing.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was. I was like, I want to go fishing, and I just called him up. I was like, hey, you want to go fishing?
Yeah, because we knew each other from playing football in high school, and then we just he wanted to go fishing one day, and I'm like, why not? Let's go fish. I want a buddy to go fishing.
2 trips up to South Dakota.
Yeah, we've taken 2. This was my first trip without my folks. You know? And same
last
with you.
year was.
Yeah, last year. This is our second.
I've taken other trips. I've worked for camp jobs and stuff.
Right, but and I guess July, that was a trip that we took by ourselves as well.
That's
but
true.
July was
that was terrible.
It was like a trial run for what we did in October.
Yeah.
Cause man, I was so burnt. Do you remember how burnt I got?
Yeah, 105 degrees, and Christian said, I don't need sunscreen.
I don't need a shirt. I'm Mexican. I don't need a shirt.
Oh, it was terrible.
And I was like a friggin' lobster, man.
I've never seen him turn purple before, but his shoulders were purple.
If I can find a picture of it, I'll post it right there of what I looked like. But, man, it was rough.
It was
up here.